Morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode where we at 620 or 621. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Today is trash and recycle. That's an exciting day because recycling all be taken out. Also exciting. Today's the last day. The painters are here, which is really throws a wrench when you're working from home and you have a crew of 8 painters throughout the house. So they are, I think now upstairs is all that is left, and they've got about half a day's work today. So that's exciting. Got most of my rec room put back together last night, with the exception of the ball wall. As I was taking the cases down on Sunday, I ripped a couple of because they're heavy. So they're anchored in and made some big holes in the wall. So gonna have that fixed. So the ball wall is not to put back. So happy Wednesday. Dollar Box, what's up, Adam? Good morning to you. Good morning, Hobby Universe. Jenny is with us. Ed, good morning. Victor, David, Dan, and Herman, what is up? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm rocking my Sklar brothers. This is actually autographed by the Sklar brothers. Saw them at the comedy club here in Madison. Gosh, like 6-7 years ago. They were awesome. I wanted to get my picture with them, but I didn't want to not buy something. And they had these shirts, and I'm like, hey, that's really cool. And I just wanted a picture with them, and they're like, oh, we can sign that. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's actually gone through the water. It's the Sklar brothers. It's an autographed t-shirt. Cool. But I've actually washed this several times, and you can still see the autographs. They'll eventually fade away, but I figured after one cycle through the wash that they would fade, but did not. So here we are. Mark, good morning. Zach and Porter, morning. Wrapping up cardio. Awesome. Zach and Porter, welcome back to Bo's Basement. Jenny has so many orders to ship from eBay and then back to listing bunch sales. Insane this month. Yeah, so I went through and Rex from the sports card shop at Moco said his sales were up 95%. Month to date compared to this same time period last year. So I went back and I actually looked at my eBay numbers. I'm trying to find, because I just replied to his tweet yesterday. Mine weren't that high, which sales are good. I will say this. If it were a year ago, or when I went full time, I would have been disappointed with where my numbers are for July. Even though July's been a good month, but 2021 was a completely different animal. But my sales, I think, are only up 60-some%. Okay, here we go. So Rex says their shop sales are up 94% versus last year. My eBay sales are up 6%. But I would have wanted that to be closer to 100% when because I was doing this part-time. Last July, this was part-time. So that number's a little lower than what I would have wanted. The card show, and I also mentioned that, my July card show last year, I had 25, and I went back to confirm. I had 25 tables at the July Madison card show. This July, it's going to be sold out. In fact, I may already be oversold. I've got to double check my regulars. But I know I have 100 tables confirmed in many first-time dealers. So that's awesome. That's where I want to be. So 120 tables compared to with probably potentially a waiting list for July 2022, whereas even during the boom, the card show was still growing, but only 25 dealer tables last July. So it's going to be a great show, July 23rd, Madison Card, Sheraton Hotel, Nolan Drive. Dollar Box Adam is in here. We're going to try to do something, a dollar box at the show next Saturday. I will say for Adam, I know he came down to my Adam. When was the show you came down to? But the Madison show bargain boxes really kind of sucked. Like if I would have came to the Madison Card Show up until a few months ago for bargain boxes, I would have been disappointed. But here recently, I would say within the last 3 to 4 months, there's been a big surge in bargain box, both bargain box dealers and dealers that have bargain boxes, because there is a difference. But I showed off some of my dollar box finds at the June show, and outstanding. So looking for more of the same here in July. Let's see. Jenny says, I think yours, yep, 68% was mine. I think we will see more first-time dealers as people look to sell off cards they bought during the boom. That's another good point, because I'm still seeing there's still a lot of sales. And I try to be transparent where it's like, oh, my sales are up 70%, but here's the reality. They're up 70%, but I was doing it part-time a year ago. I'm doing it full-time today. Those numbers should be higher even in a down market. So just being transparent, there's still people buying. That's good, but I need it to be a little bit better. But I'm happy with July sales. You just have to take it. 2021, completely different animal. You just have to take it from this point moving forward. Look through the windshield, not the rear view mirror. Speaking of mirrors, we're going to do a little reflecting today. A couple of conversations recently led to my deep thoughts within the last couple days, and how they relate to not the hobby, but in life in general. So that's the topic of the day, hobby reflections. From New Jersey, what is up? Speaking of New Jersey, a lot last night on Hobby Hotline overtime. The show, I wasn't paying close attention because I was putting my rec room together. Herman, Amy says hi. My wife was helping me put the room back together, and I had Hobby Hot. We came down like right at 8:00 when it started, and so I turned on Hobby Hotline on the big screen out in the rec room as we were putting stuff back together, and I said, "Hey, there's Herman," and she's like, "Oh yeah." So check out Hobby Hotline last night. Speaking of putting houses back together, but also does like home layouts. So we're meeting with her this Friday to basically plan out what we're gonna do with the new house. So we're gonna we put an offer in. It was verbally accepted Monday night, Tuesday night, and today's Wednesday. So Monday night, yesterday, signed, and we'll close at the end of this year to give the current owner time to get it cleaned up and moved out. So we'll close in December, and then we'll start renovating in January, and then by July 1st, we will be moved in, and I'll have a much bigger space, a much bigger card room. It'll be more efficient for me since this is my workspace. It's cool to have this when it's a hobby. But then when you do it as a business and it's like, this is your livelihood now. So it's this setup. It's pretty efficient for me, but it could be a little bit more efficient. The shipping and listing side is very efficient. I have my office upstairs. I can list down here. This is my shipping area. And I have a Costco folding table. That's my desk down here. have a Costco folding table, which is nice because it gives me plenty of space to throw crap. And then my thermal label printer, camera, laptop, all that stuff. But what's not efficient is I don't have much space. And when I say that, I have plenty of space. I don't have space for 3 million cards to efficiently sort. So that's the issues I run into, and I go out into the rec room, and then I leave the rec room a mess. And I've got boxes. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see down there. It's just a mess. So more space will allow me to be more efficient. Let's see. DR says I still think it's so cool that 8 months playing with cards. Absolutely. Jenny says, wait, Bo froze up. He's buying the house in December. Yes, closing date is December. We'll start renovations in January, and we'll move in probably sometime at the end of June. DR brings up a great point. Kudos to you, Bo, keeping a positive and realistic attitude most days with many headwinds. Support you, and so does Frank. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mark says, you're moving. I can't imagine moving all those cards. Neither can I. Neither can I. You know, we moved into this house in 2016, right after the Cubs won the World Series. November, I think we moved in November 5th, the week of November 15th of 2016. I probably only had 1 million cards at that point. Now I have close to 3 million. And yes, I am with you, Mark. I can't imagine moving all these cards either. So I am going to, here over the next 6, 7, 8 months, I'm going to try to be a little more, I'm going to put myself to move more bulk, my commons. So I've got a dealer, actually, Zach, I know a dealer, Jeff, that he sets up every once in a while at my show. He sets up in Oak Creek and other shows in the Chicago area. But Zach actually connected us to, we knew each other, but Zach made the connection. Hey, you guys do bulk. So Jeff's interested in some of my bulk commons that I typically just throw on Facebook Marketplace. And sometimes it's a little tough to move. Even 200,000 cards for $200-300 is a tough sell. You know, if I saw that, it's like, oh, hey, I'll take it. But not many people want a truckload of cards, even for a couple $100. So I'm going to try to be pushing more bulk to thin down. Let's see. Jenny says Frank support as long as Bo finds time to mow. The tables have turned here in 2022. Frank's lawn looks kind of crappy. My lawn looks much better. Take that, Frank. I'm gonna have to. He always like. He's old school. You know how people like the older, and I'm going to talk about this, the older generation in communication, but he's pretty to the point. Oh, your grass is pretty tall. How come you haven't mowed? He came out and said that a couple years ago. I think we had gone, this was pre-pandemic. We had gone on like a 2-week vacation, and there was like rain. So my grass got taller than it should have. Not tall enough to where like the city has to come in and mow it, but it got pretty tall. And he comes over and he's like, everything okay? He said, yeah, why? He's like, well, you haven't mowed. Your grass is really tall. I'm like, yeah, it's been pretty hectic around here. We were in Europe for 2 weeks. It rained. I work. Stuff, life happens. I haven't a chance to mow. I'm sorry. Okay, I just wanted to make sure nothing was wrong. Nope, just time got out of the way. But now I work from home and I can keep up with Frank. Zach says, let's see. Jenny says, I imagine Boda's Bride will hire movers. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I will say, if you move and if you have a lot of stuff, it's top 5 best investments ever is hiring movers to move. Thermal label printer, Fujitsu scanner, those are high on the list. Hiring movers, right up there. with a thermal label printer and a Fujitsu scanner. It's game changing when it comes to moving. Zach says, I bet Frank snow blows his snow onto Bo's driveway and bitches about Bo not shoveling. No. Actually, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. We actually reciprocate good deeds when it comes to snow removal. I'll snow blow his sidewalk. He'll do mine. So we're very neighborly when it comes to the winter. It's the summertime where you would think it'd be the opposite. You would think he'd be a little cranky during the winter, but it's kind of the summer. There's also a chance that Frank doesn't exist and Bo created him for content. Okay, sidebar, story time. Frank is real. Frank is totally real. But I have been known, I worked in radio, so sometimes you have to make things up. So I did a show when I did the morning show. Paul Carr, what's up? Good morning to you. So I did a morning show. I actually found a CD. I think Uncle Rich was asking for some of my old tapes. I haven't found like shows or demos or anything, but it was a bunch of promos, and including a show I did called Cooking with Bo. Now, Cooking with Bo started because I was very young and naive. Now I'm old and naive. But when I was young and naive, I had no idea how to cook. Like, couldn't boil water. In fact, that's how Cooking with Bo came about. Boiling eggs. And it was right around Easter time. And could not for the life of me, and you've probably seen this show enough to where in the mornings especially, I tend to forget words and stuff. So I forgot what deviled eggs were called. And so we were talking about what you do with eggs after Easter. And so this is live on the morning show. And I'm like, oh, I love those eggs where you cut them in half, put the yellow stuff back in, and then sprinkle the red stuff on it. And I'm 20, 21 years old, maybe 22. My co-host he was probably at that time in his mid to late 30s, family man. So he's like dying. He's like, okay, I challenge you to make, those are called deviled eggs. I challenge you to make deviled eggs. And I chat tonight and bring them in tomorrow morning. So basically I did. I went out, I bought some eggs and whatever else goes into deviled eggs. Not much. There's 3 ingredients. And I brought them in. And so live on the show, I discussed how I made them. And when it comes to cooking, I don't always follow directions. So I took shortcuts, made a couple mistakes, but hey. So that kind of, all of a sudden, people start calling in, Bo should make cookies. I have this recipe he should make. So people start sending in recipes to the radio station. And so every Thursday morning, I would cook listener recipes and explain the process. It came on, we did a website, we did grades, we had like local celebrity judges that would come in and grade my cooking. It actually brought a lot of revenue into the radio station because it was highly advertised. Hy-Vee, the local Hy-Vee supplied they gave me $25. So I work in radio and I'm 22 years old. So every dime of that $25. So basically I start picking recipes based on ingredients that I could use for like my meals the rest of the week. And it's like, okay, let's do something with meat or bread. I need some milk. So that's how it all started. I don't know. How did I get on the sidebar? Oh, making up Frank. I don't make up Frank, but I did make up an entire show, Cooking with Bo. So Chris Smith was my co-host and he moved on, took a job at the university. So it was just me on the morning show and I hated it. I hated doing the morning show by myself. But since Cooking with Bo, that segment was highly sponsored, brought a lot of money into the station, we had to keep it. It's like, it sucks without Chris because he's what, we worked off each other. So neither one of us were good on our own. He was really good. I wasn't good. But collectively, we made a great chemistry. So at one point, like I really tired of the segment. So I ended up our news director like stepped in and we just didn't have the same chemistry. So I came in Thursday morning, and I think it was in the summer, so I probably went out partying or something the night before. Told Mike, hey, I didn't cook anything last night, but we're just going to make this up today. So I do this whole segment, Cooking with Bo, not even attempt to make this the night before. One of our sales guys comes in and he's dying laughing. And he's like, I can't believe, I don't know what it was. I made up some kitchen utensil, completely made it up. And Jeff, our sales guy, he recently passed away. Rest in peace to Jeff. He was kind of a fatherly type to me at the radio station. And he came in, he's just laughing his rear off. And he's like, I can't believe you didn't know it, blah, blah, whatever this was. And I'm like, I made that up. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I didn't cook anything last night. In fact, I didn't even attempt to cook. That was just all made up. So theater mind. But Frank is not made up. Frank is real. And the stories I share are real. Like Frank beelining over because I aerated my lawn and he was upset because of his sprinklers. Asking why my grass is so tall, although it's not. Now I've got to turn the tables on Frank. Be like, Frank, how come you have crop circles in your yard? Why are you trimming around your sprinklers? Why is your grass brown? Why? There's actually one thing I really want to know. He typically mows diagonally, but he mowed Sunday, and like right off his back sliding door, he mowed like east-west, like 10 to 12 strips, maybe a quarter length of his backyard. And then the rest is like diagonal. And it looks really weird. And I'm going to ask him why he did that. Let's see. Jenny says, post flat rate boxes on eBay for set builders, charge $10 for the buy and then actual cost of ship. You will move them. Zach says, Jeff is a solid dude. Cool. I get a rate on the transaction. Bears cards. There you go. Hire movers. That's what friends and family are for. No, you got to hire movers. I may wrench Paul for that comment. I would be honored to be a subpar moderation job. There you go. Paul's got a wrench. So when I was back in like my radio days, I made some typical 20-something purchases, 20-something years of age. Boy, I am reflecting. This is Hobby Reflections was the perfect title for today. Even my sidebar stories are personal reflections. But I remember I had, but it was the summertime and I was college age. So a lot of my friends were out of town when I moved apartments in a college town, and I had one of my buddies from the radio station help me move. And at that point in time, I had like an 8-foot air hockey table. I had a stand-up golf arcade game, not Golden Tee. It was like a old version of some random golf game. I actually ran in. He actually married a girl from my hometown who was around my age. And so I run into him every once in a while I actually ran into him this last month at Anawan Fun Days and shared the story of, God, I remember moving that damn air hockey table. Let's see. Jenny says, I'd imagine the stories that you share have to be real. Who else would make up a field trip wet pants? Oh yeah. The Bishop Hill. I peed my pants on the field trip because the old man kept saying teats, but he wasn't saying teats. He was saying Titties. And as a 5th grader, I thought that was peeing my pants funny. Tommy's Corner Card Store. What is up? Good morning. Bought a Rocket Ishmael card from you last night. So excited. Yes, I was going through my tweets. I apologize I didn't respond yet, but that's a cool card. Actually, I think it was the action-packed Golden Dome. I pulled that out of a bargain box, and I'm like, oh my God, this is because and that's kind of my theory on what I sell in my eBay store when I'm picking what to move. I saw that card, and I'm like, man, this is nostalgia for me. I would totally buy this card for $2. And Tommy did. That's awesome. Thank you, Tommy. Jenny says, tell Frank he should alternate his direction of mowing. Weekly, the grass will otherwise want to grow a certain direction from being weighed down the same weekly. Is that true? That seems like it could be true. The power has already gone to my head. Card Hobbyist, what is up? Good morning. Fall Creek Collectibles, Birdie King. What's that mean? Fall Creek, what's up? It's my YouTube channel because when I put in my eBay, like I move all of these eBay sales, and it's like I need to self-promote. So if I send something out in Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, sometimes Indiana, Michigan, I'll put the Madison card show, and it's got the schedule, it's got my contact information, it's got John Nolan Drive on it, all that good stuff. But there's all of these other locations that I ship to. Painters are here. And it's like, I'm not putting anything in there. Sometimes I'll put my 1 million Cubs, which I think I'm probably running low on. I'll put these in, 1 million Cubs. I don't really update. I don't update my blog. So I want to continue to grow YouTube channel. So QR codes are big. I'm like, I'm going to do a QR code. And so I told my wife, I'm like, here, she's great with Canva. Can you help me? And I think it turned out awesome. So it's got the QR code. And then because just like Vistaprint, I apologize to crap. So I was nervous because I didn't know where the print would be. And even though it showed, it looked good, I'm like, I'm still nervous. And then the QR code, it's like I ordered like 10,000 of these. I'm nervous that the QR code isn't going to work. So they were delivered yesterday, and I scanned the QR code. Boom, took me to the 1 Million Cubs channel on YouTube. Whew. So be with that. So those are going out starting today in my eBay shipments. This is my career is lawn care. Yes, it's true. Awesome. Thank you for the conversation. Legit. It sounds. What else is going on? I shipped a bunch yesterday. I ended about 150. I ended up last night. I'm like, I didn't add anything today, even though I added 525 items on Monday. Yeah, Monday. I ended up doing like 150 on Tuesday, but I bought those dime boxes outright on at the Janes ago. So it's like basically all stuff in list, maybe even plans outside of my wife's grandma's rough shape. She's 96. So she's moving from to keep on top of, I always say catch up on, what do I say? Catch up on shipping. I got to get caught up. Yeah. I'm never going to be caught up on shipping. I mean, it's just when you move volume, I'll keep on top of my shipping. And try to get, I'd like to hit 16,000 active listings by this weekend or before next week, before Monday. Try to get 16,000 active listings in there. I think I'm at 15. I hit 15,400 last night with my additions. But today's going to be another big shipping day. So I don't know how much, when it's a big shipping day, it's like, yeah, I can do 100 to maybe 200 listings. I can't do like a massive 500 listing day. Yeah, I'm at 15,399 right now. So what's that? About 600 Today's Wednesday. Yeah, I can totally get by Sunday. How many items do I have to ship? And as long as, because a lot of the sales that I have to ship are within the last couple days, so I have a window of time. 187 items to ship, so I'm under 200, which 200 is the new 100. Where I feel, as long as I keep under 200, I'm on top of things. Jenny says, "Are you getting those Jeter cards listed this week for the documentary?" I actually, funny you say that. There's already a surge on Jeter because I've been moving Jeter cards starting about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think people are buying them now, and I think right now it's on the expectation. Some minor league cards, my rookie cards, like Jeter is moving. So list them now. Like I think I've listed all of my Jeter cards that are more than $1.50 cards, basically. Rookie cards, minor league cards, a couple of recent collections I picked up had, a handful of minor league cards, and those have just been moving. His Topps rookie card, which I'm pretty surprised, $10, boom, out the door. I had one with a dinged corner, like a big ding. I'm like, $5, and boom, sold right away. So just moving. So yeah, I have been listing when I find them, and they're moving fast. Paul says, "How long does it take you to pick, pack, and ship 200 cards?" 200 cards, I'd say probably I can hammer out, if they're single, and it's hard to say. If they're 200 single card transactions, that would probably take me 5 hours. About 50 per hour if they're single sales. But I get really, like, I break up my day, so I can't sit and do that for 5 straight hours. So it would actually take me a little longer, just because I'm time length though 5 hours. But I don't do it in one sitting. So yeah, it still takes me 5 hours. It's just I'm breaking it up over multiple hours because I'm looking at Twitter or going upstairs, taking the dog for a walk, all that stuff. So 5 hours. If they're single card. Now, I've got, just pull up my thing. So single card, and I do a lot of single card sales. So it looks like, so the first 6 are single card, but then there's an 11 card sale. Let's see, a couple more single card sales. So yeah, so 5 hours if they're single card sales, but if they're multis, it's going to take a little bit longer. Let's see. Where are we at? Dan's with us. What's up, Dan? Just got back from dinner and coffee with a friend. We are getting a rain downpour we need. We could use, I ran the sprinklers basically all day yesterday, even though we got like 3 inches of rain last week. It's we needed all of that and more. So I think it is supposed to rain, I think starting maybe Friday and through the weekend, which isn't ideal, but we do need the rain. Let's see. Jenny says, "Speaking of Jeter moving, I want to respond. Everything is moving on eBay. What's your last 5 sales?" Let's take a look. Let's see. Sold. Last 5 sales on eBay. One sold just as I went on the air. A 2020 Topps Heritage Miners, basically a common. Brewer of the Astros. 2002 Upper Deck rookie record Albert Pujols. I'm moving a little more, a few more Albert Pujols because of the All-Star game. 2017 Topps first pitch Leslie Jordan. Let's see, a 2021 Stadium Club red foil Robin Yount, and a 2020 Topps Tony Gonsolin rookie card. I've been moving quite a few Tony Gonsolins, and I think really well. And then right after that, oh hey, Cooter put in an order of some Giants cards. So those were my last 5 sales on eBay. Let's see. That's not too bad. Does the picking take a long time with the old SKU system? So no. So the old SKU, the first SKU system I used was, I'll say my original system wasn't a SKU system. It was just, okay, this is a 2002 Albert Pujols. It's in my 2002 baseball box. That takes significant time because some rows are pretty long. And then I went to the 0418 baseball, 0419. I only did that for like 2 days. So that doesn't, I know exactly where those are at. And then my new SKU system is long. The key is keeping it in, shorter bursts. Like, so I do all of my file exchange in 8 card bursts. So I'll do 28, 28, 28. Ideally, for picking efficiently, the most efficiently is, let's see, what's 28 times 3? Is that 84? That's ideal. Once it gets over 100, then it becomes a little, it takes more time. If it's box 5, row A, and there's 5 row A with only cards, it takes less time. So new SKU system, and it's still like you find what's most efficient as you're doing it. And so, you're just kind of learning along the way. And with this new system, and also it's like and I've done several different, a few different variations of it because I did. So then my first SKU system was A1, and I didn't use the SKU column. And that's a real pain. Then I went to B01, 04 baseball. And after a couple of days, I realized, okay, this may get in. I just have 2 tabs, right? 2 tabs. So it's easy. I know exactly where it is. And then I realized, okay, that's not efficient when I have 1,000 tabs. Then I went to box 2, row 1, tab A, tab B, tab C, etc. Then I ran into the issue where when things sell, it's not be in the, I need to utilize that box space. So I'm going to be moving cards. So row 2 is going to eventually be in row 1. So that's when I went to, and I learned that quickly using that SKU method. So it's box tab. So box 2, tab A, tab B, and then get, past Z. Then it goes into double A, double B. And that's working. And now, like box 2, I can get more tabs. So I can see, and it's like, so I left off at box 2, tab I, Hij. So I can push over, instead of going next to another box, I can just, when I go upstairs today and I'm going to do 84 listings, I'm going to go back and put these in box 2. So it's going to be box 2, tab J. And so I can utilize that extra space. So that's kind of, and it's just kind of, learning as I go with all this. But not having to sort is, huge time saver. Paul asks, one last shipping question. I promise. Do you do the bulk purchase shipping? That saves me a huge amount of time. I have not done that. I'm holding back, and it could be one of those things where it's like, once I do it, it's like, I can't believe I wasn't doing this before, but I have not done that. I'm like dragging my feet. Maybe I should just try it out, see how it is. But I feel like my current method is pretty efficient, but I guess maybe I don't. So I truly can't say. Herman's retracted a ton of messages. Now I'm curious what Herman had typed out. 608, what is up? Still trying to figure out where my cards go in our house. Paul says, oh man, you seriously need to. Slips and then all the labels. They come in the interesting. Do a video. If you could do a video on that, just I'd kind of like to see how that works, or direct me to a video if there is one out there. I'd be curious to just see how it all works in. I slap the labels on the envelopes and just sleeve up the cards. Painter's tape to the packing slip, then slide it in. How do you... So I'm curious. Herman says, decided it would be better to DM it straight to you. I'll make one. I've been procrastinating on it. So my concern would be, how do you know, like if I print 10 labels off and put them on the envelopes, how do I know which card goes to which order? So say I print a label off, it's on this piece of paper, which would be on a thermal label, and I slap it on this envelope, and I've got a stack of envelopes ready to go, and they're all labeled. How do I know which card? Okay, this is Paul's, this is Jenny's. How do I know which cards to pick to put in those envelopes? I guess that's my hang up. Like, do you use I guess my question now would be, do you use a thermal label printer, and does it use twice as many labels? Does the packing slip and the shipping label, because I don't want to ship a packing slip, because now I'm doing twice the amount of printing. Print the pick list from eBay. It shows the card and address together. Yeah, I just don't want to do the double printing. And I don't know how much time it would save me. Nick says, what's up, Nick? Take them out of the printer and keep putting them on the bottom. The first out of the printer is the top order. It is a game changer. So Nick confirms. And here I am doubting everyone. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm hesitant. Maybe I'll just have to try it, see for myself. We'll see. Jenny says, I don't do it because I feel the wrong eBay buyers. I would mess up and then start getting negs. And that's kind of, I guess that's my hesitancy. It's like, what if you screw up the order and you've got like, I'm shipping 100 plus a day and I've got 100 messed up orders, and all of a sudden they're going to, I mean, that just sounds like disaster. Paul says, I pick the cards first in a BCW tray, so they're in order of orders. I print the packing slips on the back of my thank you note. Then you just go down the line like an assembly line. Takes me 1.5 minutes per card on average while watching and chatting on YouTube. Nick says you can pick and choose as well if you want to do a couple at a time. Interesting. I think I'm more efficient doing it the way I do it. I don't know if that would be more efficient for me, and it would cause more stresses, and it'd cause more printing. Jenny says that's about my speed. I'm at 37 cards shipped since Bo started the show, and I'm around a minute, a little over a minute probably. If it's like a single card sale, I can boom. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do one right now. Okay, let's just do it. Nick's comment is spot on. Nick's comment on, I wish I had StreamYard. I'd highlight that. I'm sure you said the same thing before. And I did. I didn't start out. I asked my wife to get me a QL 800, and then my local post office screwed the pooch on that one. So then I went out and bought the 1100. But yes, I did say that. So let's just time out. So I'm going to go, okay, let's just go to the top here. Okay, I'm not going to do the CJ Abrams because it's in a separate pile. Let's do, 91 Donruss, Sammy Sosa. So I just go to my eBay. I wish I was on StreamYard. I could share my screen here. So, okay, so let's see. He only bought one, so I'm going to go to print shipping label. I'm going to pull the card, 3J. So I've got, this is my 3J. It's a 91 Donruss, Sammy Sosa. So this process would take the same amount of time because I'd have to pick the cards anyway. So this is, where are you, Sammy? There we go. Sammy Sosa. 3J. He wasn't sleeved, so we're going to sleeve him up. We're going to grab a card saver. He's in Mississippi, so we're going to give him a Hobby Evolution card. Trifold the piece of paper. Stick it in there. Go to the eBay print screen, 57 cents. Grab my envelope, sticker in there. My internet's a little slow, as you are not surprised with my Wi-Fi connection down here. And print. There we go. And that's all it takes. And then I just slap that baby on there. And then I just do that. Rinse and repeat. So I don't know if that would be, and I know Nick said, and I did say the same thing about the thermal printer, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable with my process. Curious how many average orders per day you guys have. Paul says I'm at 40 cards per day on average, now at 41,000 listings, $80 to $100 in revenue per day for the past couple of weeks. I am probably at, well, I can tell, and this is my 90-day average, and I've added a ton more here recently. Where are we at? So my 90-day average, I've sold 7,138 in the last 90 days. So I'm at 79.3 per day. And I think that's probably a little higher here recently with the additional listings I've had. And I've been over 200 items to ship several days recently. Let's see. So Nick's at about 20 a day. Bo, I'm going to convert you. I'll make a video on it tomorrow when I ship. Thank you. I'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do a spin myself. Check it out. Jenny says, I could see where bulk printing 40 is less nerve-wracking than the 267 labels Bo would have. Definitely. So I wanted to reflect. I did some reflections on my radio days earlier in the show. The reflecting came, so a couple different things brought this about. I had a conversation. I talked about my buddy Scott, by the way, talked to him last night. He got his invoice, his 75 tops mini box getting wrapped this week, so he'll pick it up later this week. So we had lunch at Texas Roadhouse after baseball card exchange. We got talking politics, and I don't talk politics. And we have different views. We have differing views when it comes to politics. And I'm not going to get into politics. I don't talk politics. I don't talk religion. But it really opened up how it opened my eyes was I don't know if project is the right word, but when I see a politician and I say I don't like them or agree with them, I think a lot of times it's because of their fans. And I'm relating that in kind of a sports analogy, because I hate the Cardinals. The reason I hate the Cardinals so much is not the actual team or the organization. It's like I grew up around a lot of a-hole Cardinal fans during a time when the Cubs sucked and the Cardinals were good. And so, yeah, there was part jealousy, but they were like a-holes. And so it was just more of a, like, I don't like the Cardinals because your fans are a-holes. I don't have that with the Pack. Like, I don't like the Packers, but their fans are, I see Packers fans, they act a little better than the Cardinals fans that I knew. And I'm not saying if you're a Cardinals fan, my buddy George on here, I don't think George is in the chat, but he's a Cardinal fan. I have a lot of friends that are good Cardinals fans, but I grew up around a lot of people that were just a-holes and Cardinals fans. So I kind of I just see the Cardinals as, I hate the Cardinals because I relate them to, person A and person B, that they're just a jerk off. And I don't like them. Herman says, sounds like a lot of Dodger fans. Not all. Yeah. And I think every fan base, Cubs, there's a lot of Cubs fans that I'm like, God, what an a-hole. Shut the hell up. Every fan base has them. But, so I thought about, growing up, and I think, a lot of my political views, I kind of relate to, okay, this person, that person from growing up, and same with religion. So it really opened my eyes, and I've kind of thought about that over the last couple of days in how I view different things, not necessarily politics, religion, but just in general, baseball cards and the hobby. And what did I tweet yesterday? I tweeted something food for thought because it popped into my mind. I started reading a book, the Ryan Sandberg book, and Ryan Sandberg, early on in this book, where does that tweet at? There it is. So I guess my tweet was in general, not really specifically toward the hobby. But in the Ryan Sandberg book, Sandberg is talking about the new generation and how they don't respect I can't remember exactly what his words, and the book's way upstairs, so I don't have a chance to see the exact quote. But essentially, it's like the kids today, like they don't respect the game, blah 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 blah, and they're out of touch and all that stuff. And it's like, holy crap, this is what people my age say about the younger generation, the millennials. Everybody craps on the millennials, and the millennials crap on the boomers, and then guys our age are just, right in the middle of all this. And it's like, and I'm thinking, like, this was written in 1994. Think about that. Think about the some of the top players today in baseball. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr. 1994 predates their dads playing baseball. When was Vladimir Guerrero's rookie year? Like 95? So he was like coming on. Tatis around the same time. Ronald Acuna Sr., I don't think he ever played Major League Baseball, but he does have a Topps rookie card, 2002, I think. And it's like, so this is like, so Sandberg saying this is like, generationally, grandpas and grandmas talking about kids these days. And it's like, millennials today, everybody like craps on the millennials. And you know what? In 20 years, those people that, they're going to be 40, 45, 50, and they're going to be looking at the kids born in the COVID years, and they're going to be called the COVID kids or something like that. And the millennials in 20 years are going to be crapping on whatever the COVID kids are doing. Oh, the stupid COVID kid generation. It's like, kids don't change. Kids do stupid crap. I did stupid crap, and I'm sure you did stupid crap. And our parents, like, oh my God, I can't believe our kids did this. But our grandparents said the same thing about our parents and their parents and their parents. It's just generational. Paul says my kid is Gen Alpha. So it really, like, and I've always, my grandma was anti-Elvis. And I just remember this like as a kid, and my parents relating how grandma hated Elvis and his hip tossing or whatever he was doing. And I'll never forget a conversation, and me and my cousin, we were like brother and sister growing up. My uncle Jack and my dad sitting at the kitchen table, probably drinking an old Milwaukee Light, smoking a cigarette in the house, and talking about Ugly Kid Joe. You heard that, Ugly Kid Joe? And I just remember, that's not music, and it's just, and here we are, now we're 40, and we're saying the same stuff about this modern music. The Grammys come on. I've never heard of any of these acts. Well, of course, because it's not Petty and Genesis and Phil Collins and Sting and all that stuff. And just like our parents crapped on our music, and their parents crapped on their music. So a couple of those that conversation, and then reading that snippet in Sandberg's book, kind of opened my eyes, caused me a little reflection. And, kids these days, they're no different than Hate Everything About You. That's exactly the song that they were referencing when they were, oh my God, music today. I hate everything about, So yeah. And I like, my cousin and I we would tape record our dads at the kitchen table. And I'm sure we had that on cassette. I wish I had that. Oh my gosh. Some of those tapes would be Epic. Jenny says, I don't like Raiders fans because the Brian Shaw incident of 2011 that caused him brain damage because he was a Giants fan with a Giants jersey in a Dodgers stadium. That was, terrible situation. Card Hobbyist says, generation wars are never ending. Absolutely. Our biases are based on our experiences and environments from birth to now, sprinkled in with the egocentric nature of the human psyche. I wrote that in college. Well said. Well said. That's like a psychology major. Let's see. Dan says, I grew up on oldies with my dad listening to the radio 50s and 60s. Yeah, my dad was all over the place. And I think maybe that's where I get a little of my eclectic music taste. My mom was always old, like oldies, like that's Cool FM, the Quad Cities. Like that's the only thing my mom listened to. My dad, very eclectic. He would go through, I remember during the Achy Breaky Heart, he was into country and liked Billy Ray Cyrus. And then he classic rock, Q 106.5. And that's kind of where towards the end, he passed away, 5-6 years ago. He was more on a classic rock kick, but, going through my parents' vinyl collection and I'm seeing oh my God, Sonny and Cher and some of the oh God, you listen to terrible music. And my mom's like, that's your dad's music. My mom had Black Sabbath and all this cool. I'm like, man, this is cool music. And my mom's like, that's my collection. And your dad has Ann Williams and Sonny and Cher. My dad was a big Josh Groban fan. So he was definitely more on the musical spectrum with a wide array of favorites. Paul says, my dad told me Jordan was overrated, and now I'm telling my nephews LeBron is overrated. Dan says, my mom is listening to smooth jazz. My mom listened to smooth jazz. So yeah, it's just interesting how we kind of, and we change. And when 20 years ago, when we were teenagers and in our 20s, we're thinking, I'm never going to be like that. I'm going to be cool the rest of my life. And you're not going to be cool the rest of you. You're going to turn into a 40-year-old dork like me. That's just, if you're 20 right now, just know that when you're 40, you're going to be a dork. You're going to be talking on the internet about baseball cards. Herman says, I listen to almost anything bluegrass to heavy metal. Same here. I love lounge singers. I love lounge music. Paul Anka's Rock Swings. That's great stuff. I love Sinatra. But I also like Typo Negative and Pantera. So yeah. So that's about all I had for today. Just wanted to do a little reflecting. Today's Wednesday. I've got to go take the trash and recycling out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab some more coffee. Hit the like button if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.